All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Texas in Color. Texas in Color is a deal that we put together so we can hear from candidates all around the state of Texas because we know how money is tight and people don't have those big bucks as other people do to get on TV. This is our way of letting them know they could get on here and talk about their platform. And at the end of this conversation, they will get a copy of this. They can use it any way they want because that's our way of giving back to let everybody know that's what we're here for. We want to educate everybody on what's going on in the state of Texas, whether it's in your county, in your city, your school board. It doesn't make a difference. We are here for you. And I'm Ronald Gordon with Texas in Color. And right now we got this gentleman on right now. We were just talking before we went live, and some of the stuff he said was very interesting to me. But he is running for at-large city council in Killeen, Texas. All right, so you'd like to introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. My name is John Crow Miller. The Crow comes back from most of the people in Killeen know me as John Crow. I was a touring poet for a long time. I've been an activist in this community for a long time. And I decided that it's time for me to take a step up to run for city council. Uh, I'm, if you've seen me around town, you know that I'm strong in education, strong on dialogue, strong in communication. I take an interest in the parts of the city that I don't live in, like our north side, for instance. Very interested in what's going on over there. I have a very long memory of how we got here, and I want to improve our conditions. I think if somebody who doesn't have any special interests, I'm not tied to any real estate or companies or anything like that. I'm retired. So, this is not for the money. This is for the people. I'm one of you. Elect me because I am one of you. I'm not a career politician, but I know and will listen to your issues.
I'm glad you brought that up when you said, I am one of you. What does that
Mhm.
slogan mean to you? What does the slogan mean to you personally and politically?
Personally, same thing. I am a citizen of the city. Lived here a long time. I remember when this city was the mecca for a lot of things that happened within the community. And I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, right? You got to import. But I've been here, got here quick as I could. I was in the Army here back when Fort Hood was the original Fort Hood, not then Fort Cavazos, then Fort Hood again, but I was here when it was Fort Hood, Fort Hood. Uh, I'm one of you. I'm a person that you can approach anywhere you see me. I think that's one of the uh, drawbacks to our current political state that our elected officials are not listening to us. They're unapproachable. They're hard to get on the phone, impossible to talk to. That's not going to be me. It never has been me. When you see me, come up, shake my hands. You see me someplace, sit down, have a beer with me. We can talk. And I'm open to talking. And when you bring me a problem, tell me what you would do about it. Tell me your solution, and I'll see if your solution will work. I think that's part of the problem with our current political climate, that the people's suggestions on fixing our problems are not being paid attention to. And I not only will pay attention to it, I am one of you. I probably had the same idea. Now it's time for me to do it.
Okay. Well, with so many recent changes in Killeen city leadership, what do you believe the city needs most right now?
The city needs a couple of things right now. One, we need to take care of our north side of the city. It's been neglected, period, full stop. We have created a situation where there are over, I'm gonna say, 3 to 5,000 homes, and there's no grocery stores over there. Not one. Mm-mm. We used to have them, but something happened and they went away. And there was a plan in place to put a grocery store on the north side, and somehow that disappeared as well. The north side is prime property for any real estate developer. It is. And I think that's part of the problem, that our north side of our city is being neglected in order for those prime properties to be developed by someone else. And that means you have to get rid of families. And I don't like that. I really don't.
Your platform includes transparency in the city spending. What
Hmm.
specific changes would you push for to make the city government more accountable?
Well, our government has, um, in the city of Killeen, we have what we call the Economic Development Corporation. It's a partnership between our city council and local builders and things like that. The problem is that the Economic Development Corporation is supposed to attract business here. We've given them over $2,100,000 in the last 3 years, and I can't tell you what business they attracted that was worth that price tag. Um, People complain about our city streets being in disrepair. Our water bills are constantly going up, but we don't see those improvements. What are we buying with our dollar? Where's it going? I know that the city of Killeen made $500 million last year. And I know we have to pay salaries and all the infrastructure things. But still, it seems like we're paying a hefty price tag. And I can't point to, hey, we did that. I can't really say that. I really can't say that. So I want the budget to be transparent. I want what our Economic Development Corporation is doing with our money. And I think they should be accountable to the citizens. We're paying somebody $800,000 to build businesses here. If we can't get a grocery store on the north side, something's wrong.
Mm.
And the city itself, as I understand it, was going to donate the land for the grocery store to be built. So how come it's not there? What happened to the original plan of putting one at 38th Street? What is that? What happened to that? When you go down 38th Street, we have a place here called what used to be a theater, big movie theater complex. That got torn down and moved to a different area. That was fine. But in that vacant lot now was supposed to be a grocery store. I will call out their name, but I think people know what that neighborhood market was supposed to look like, and it never got built. Instead, a much larger store was built down Stan Sluter. And then two other smaller neighborhood markets were built in other areas of town, but the original one that was supposed to be here never got built. So that means that all those citizens on that side of town had to catch a bus or start walking to the south side of town to get their groceries or order them. And I think that's we're doing them a disservice. That's the oldest section of our city. Their tax dollars built what is Killeen today. And we seem like we're just neglecting them and taking their money. I don't like it.
So, how do you plan to balance economic growth and clean while also protecting the interests of everyday residents?
Economic growth should be for the entire city. We can spread out. We have some prime property, good real estate. Killeen is a growing, thriving citizen, growing, thriving city. We have a brand new college that's come in. It's going to be a full of college with football stadiums and basketball stadiums. It's going to be a beautiful thing, but all those things need infrastructure. And if there's talk of putting a data center here, but I don't see talk of how is that going to affect our water supply? How many citizens it's going to employ? Where are those jobs? We're building the average home here now. It's around, I'm going to say $200,000. But unfortunately, we don't have an industry here in this city that can support that other than the military and possibly the hospital. Other than that, no one's making that kind of cash. So we're building these subdivisions, these great subdivisions, but who are we building them for? They're not building for the citizens that live here today. And as far as I can tell, they're not building them for the citizens that's going to live here tomorrow because we don't have an industry that will support it. So in the long term, I think we're setting ourselves up for failure. That when jobs dry up, what's going to happen to all those houses? They're going to come into urban blight. That's what we're preparing for. I don't like it, and I want to do more for the citizens. I think that if we spread out some of these great ideas of building things, put some on the north side, some on the south side, some way down on the east side, we'd have a better chance.
Okay, so I'm listening to you, and it's coming to my head without even being there. I'm the outsider looking in.
Hmm.
There seem to be some issues going over there, and clean itself. Not about the growth. to me, it's about the people that's representing the people who's in power there. It seems like they're turning their backs on certain neighborhoods and only taking care of one who they feel like. But the whole idea is right now, as we were talking, this may not be the right word to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It
Go
seemed
on, come
like
on with it.
it seemed like things are just plain disarray over there.
No,
Nobody know what nobody's doing, or they too busy running for office and not busy enough taking care of the people.
I wouldn't call it disarray. I wouldn't say that. I think in previous administrations, and even this one, they tried hard, but for some reason they just couldn't get it done. I can tell you for special interests that stopped them. We have had a lot of improvement. Killeen is a growing city. We're going through what I would call the growing pains right now. Moving from the small town mentality to a big city mentality. And, transportation issues, infrastructure issues. How do we get those senior citizens from those small enclaves and include them in our planning? I think our government here needs to listen more to what the citizens are saying. Right now, our city council meetings start at 3 p.m. But in the city of Killeen, that's when school lets out. So the parents can't be at the city council meetings because they have to pick up their children. And by the time they pick up their children, get them situated, maybe get back, it's 5 p.m. and they missed a good portion of what happened. That's what I mean by the citizens aren't being heard. If you know the schools that's out at 3 p.m., why would you schedule your city council meeting at 3 p.m. where people can't attend? Most people are still at work until 5. So who are you talking to? That's my problem. Who are we talking to if we know that the majority of the citizens who should be at these meetings cannot be at these meetings unless they make a tremendous sacrifice to be there? That shouldn't be.
You hit a point right there. It's almost like they don't want the input of the people and their ideas what's going on. I agree with you. Why you start something at 3 p.m. when you know nobody's off work, kids in their school? It should be done afterwards. So my question is, who is doing all this and why?
Well, I have to point the finger at the city council because they set their times for their meetings. And their reasons, they may have some, but I don't think they're valid enough to exclude the majority of the citizens from being there. In any city, you're going to have an opposition. And I think the opposition in this city may influence their reasoning to move the meetings earlier to eliminate some of that opposition. But that's not a good idea. I think the opposition keeps you sharp. When people are talking negatively about you, that lets you know that there's an issue that they want to address. Allow the citizens to address their issues in open forum. We have 2 meetings here a month on Tuesdays. I have an idea. Let one meeting be nothing but citizens' comment. Let them express themselves and say what it is they feel that the city council could be doing for them. Then the next meeting can be nothing but a vote. Nothing but voting on what we've already heard from the citizens. We gave them a full session. Now we're just going to vote on the issues and ordinances in front of us. That would be my solution. That way everybody's heard, no one is excluded, and the business gets done.
Okay, now my next question is: do Killeen have a city manager? And
Ah,
and if so, what is their input in all this?
so that's a good question. So yes, Killeen should have a city manager. We have had a city manager. Currently, our city manager resigned. I'm talking about like last week. He left. So one of the first duties of this new city council, once elected, would be to hire the city manager. And I think that should be a thoughtful process with at least a 5, 10 year contract. And that city manager should be vetted on how he manages all of the city services. Versus the city manager is applying for our parks and rec. The budget for infrastructure improvement, how you get your roads done, He pays the fire department, he pays the police department. So he manages the city services. And for that, we pay them quite a bit of money because the city council doesn't make any money. Not really. I think we make less than $20,000 a year. So we're not in it for the money. But the city manager, we pay them upwards of over 100,000. I want to say 200,000, but I'm not exactly sure right now. And they should, and they're doing the job. Our last manager, his last name was Cagle. People talk bad about him, but he was doing the job. The job isn't pretty. When you talk about improving a road, for instance, that means somebody's going to be inconvenienced. There's no way around it. And when you inconvenience someone, they become vocal. But there's only one way to improve a road, and that's to inconvenience everybody who uses it. It's not a pretty process. So on my street, I've been here, I don't know, 20 years, and it's never been resurfaced. But I don't mind that because I know when it is resurfaced, when they get around to it, I would be inconvenienced for real. So, it's a thing, and I think we have to educate the citizens early. Hey, we're going to do something to your street, your road, or a main artery that services your street or road. And when you do that, you're going to have to find alternate ways of getting to wherever it is you're going. There's going to be times where you don't see anybody out there. Don't worry, they're coming, or they will be there, maybe when you're not around.
So I just it boggles the mind right now. You got the city manager who resigned. You got other people who resigned. Um,
Mayor
how
and city council.
how can a city function without no organization to keep things together? And now you have to wait for an election in order to get somebody in office. So to me, the city is sort of like at limbo on what they could do or cannot do. Now, like I said, I'm an outsider looking in. I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to say a city can't function without the main people in office. If they're resigning, there has to be a issue going, an underlying issue going on for people to resigning like this. And I know the citizens of Killeen want to know what is that underlying deal that's going on that have these people resigning.
Not just resigning and running for more offices within the same sphere. So if the city council, for instance, resigns, three of them resigned to run for mayor. The mayor resigned to run for city council. First of all, you can't move forward if you got the same people in charge. Can't do it. If they're just rotating the same names in and out. How are you going to move forward? Just going to keep having those same ideas and those same issues. Two, did you really want to be the office you held in the first place? I mean, if you got 2 years left on your term and you resign to run for mayor, and this is only your first or second term, you didn't want to be a city councilman in the first place. No, you didn't. You wanted to be mayor. Why didn't you just stop what you're doing and run for mayor? That's what you really wanted. I want to be city council. I haven't resigned to be mayor at this time. I think the city council has the power because they make the votes. And the vote of the city council is what affects your ordinances. They affect your day-to-day life as a citizen. They affect your water bill. So that's why I want to be on city council. I'm tired of my water bill going up 4 times in the last 3 years. And that's one of the reasons why I think that every citizen in the city of Killeen should take an interest in this election. It's time for a reset and realignment. We can do it. All you need to do is vote. And your first vote is with your feet. Get up out of your chairs, go down to those polls, and say, hey, I want to cast my ballot for John Crow Miller. Ha! I did that.
Yeah. So one final thing, I know I'm beating this on the head, but my question that I'm pretty sure everybody want to ask: once somebody decides to run for office, do they vacate that seat immediately?
Yes.
So that means
Yes.
everything that's going on is on hold until the election, till we get new people in to move forward.
Well, not exactly. Once they realized that with all the, let's call it turnover, we wouldn't have had a quorum. So they brought back um, a couple of people who had resigned. Riakos is one of them. Um, I call him Rock. Rock is back on the city council, not just the city council. Rock is now our mayor. Um, the, to he's going to serve that after he was mayor pro tem when the original mayor resigned. So he came back as mayor pro tem and have a couple other people. So they have enough for a quorum right now, but not the full quorum because a lot of people are missing. And even though they have a quorum right now, is your heart really in it if only, maybe two members on the city council are the elected officials who ran for that office? You really, is your heart really doing the people's business? That's why, you know, next month, well, actually starting this month on April 20th is early voting. From the 20th to the 28th of April is early voting. And then on May 2nd is the actual election day. That's why it's so important to get out and get these votes, get them in quickly. Cast your ballot. Even if it's not for me, vote for someone. Let your voice be heard. And be careful of what these people are doing in your name. Because that's what your vote is giving. You're empowering somebody to act on your behalf when you're not around, while you're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to be careful when you go down to those polls, who you vote for. Of course, I'm biased. Please vote for me. I'll do the very best I can. If I'm doing something wrong, welcome to me and have a conversation. And I'll respond. I'll tell you why we're doing it. That's another thing I will do when I'm in office. We talk about transparency. Every week, I will sit down and do a video on what happened, what they said was going to happen, and what actually happened. There's a difference sometimes between, you know, what actually went on, what they said was going to go on, and what we're going to present to the people. You don't want me to hide from me. I'm going to drag every issue to the sunlight so everyone can see exactly what your people who are doing things in your name have done with your money and your power.
Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. As a decorated Army veteran, how
Hmm.
has your military service shaped your leadership style?
Well, currently, I am what they call the Senior Vice Commander of VFW 12209. What is that? Well, that's the only VFW on an active duty military installation. The VFW, nobody does more for a soldier than the VFW. Nobody. We are constantly taking care of soldiers. We're still serving. Just Friday, we were out on Fort Hood, servicing a unit, 36 engineers. We had a spectacular time. We fed them. This was a Easter egg scene extravaganza. We had a great time with their families, and they really appreciate that because in our current climate, it doesn't seem like the life of the soldiers being considered. Right now, there's wars and there's rumors of wars going around, and every soldier that I know is concerned about their future, and they don't want to. Nobody wants peace more than a soldier because we're the ones who have to go fighting. And so when a soldier is at home with his family, that's where we would like to step in and make sure that any comfort that we can give them, we give them. And as a leader of the VFW, it's my job to rally my troops around the cause of helping soldiers. Soon I'm going to the state convention and then the national convention to vote on issues before Congress that will help soldiers. Not right now. They need this help right now. So we constantly engage with our legislatures to ensure that our soldiers have the best that we can give them, and we fight for them every day so they can get those things.
Okay. Well, Killeen is a diverse city with many different voices. How
Mhm.
would you make sure all communities feel heard and represented?
See, and there lies a question in any city, especially Killeen. So everybody has communities within communities. You have a black community, you have a Hispanic community, you have an Asian community. Everybody has their own communities. The thing about being on the city council is you have to be open to listening to everybody's issues within those communities. And I don't mind going to them, walking around. Just the other day, I was walking around in a neighborhood I had never been before. And I was saying, wow, Why didn't I know about this sooner? And what can I do to improve it? Killeen also has, unfortunately, or fortunately, because it's warm here all the time, or most of the time, we have a growing unhoused community. And I was just learning that on some website that the unhoused people are saying come here because we have better services and it's better climate and they're not harassed as much. Okay, but then Colleen in turn should prepare the unhoused that are here. We can't help everybody. Resources are limited. Our current government isn't just dropping dollars for us to help people like they used to or they should be, but we can do what we can. And that calls for community involvement. So back to your statement about the different communities and, be heard, I will look for ways for those communities to come together and help the less fortunate. No matter where you are, no matter what language you speak or what music you listen to, you can help somebody in your community or help somebody you don't know. But we can show love to our fellow humans. That's what they are. They're human beings. And we shouldn't treat them as anything less.
Okay. So on day one, what would be your top priority if you were elected to Killeen City Council at large?
It will be the thing I've been shouting about for the last few years. I'm going to figure out why we don't have a grocery store on the north side of our town. Why? That's going to be made public. I've heard conflicting stories over the last few years of why we don't have one. And I personally blame the city of Philly that we don't have one. We played for a city plan. I know we did. I remember when that happened. Remember, I told you I had a long memory, and I want to make sure that if there's a new plan, that there's a grocery store on the north side, because those are the people who need it. People talking about they're Christians. The very first tenet of a Christian is feed my sheep. How are you gonna feed your sheep if you don't put a grocery store over there?
Okay. For voters who may are still undecided, why should they trust John Miller with their vote?
Because I can't be swayed. I can't be bought. I have no business to ruin. I'm doing this simply for the love of Killeen, nothing else. Um, a lot of our previous administrations had their interests, real estate, construction, car dealerships, you name it. And those hindered the growth of our city because they had an interest in things not happening here. I don't have that interest. My interest is how do I get somebody from point A to point B when it comes to transportation? What can I do to make the lives of our citizens better? And what can I do to improve the less fortunate? That's what your city should be doing. And it doesn't take a lot. It just takes someone who says, "I'm going to do it. I don't want excuses as to why we can't do it. Don't tell me about what we can't do. Talk to me about how the solution is going to happen today."
Okay, last question. How can people connect with your campaign, support your effort, and stay informed?
Easy. Reach out to me on Facebook. Um, John Crow on Facebook. I'm there all the time. I don't have well, I do have an Instagram. I might have two people on there. Snapchat. Hey, let's say I got five. I was never. And listen, I'm not a politician, and I think that's something else that I've learned campaigning. Everyone said you gotta have a campaign page. That no, I'm using my own page. This is me. I'm running for city council, not the fake pages, not the homogenized, pasteurized stuff. You're gonna know who I really am and what I say I will do, or you'll know why it didn't get done.
Okay. All right, sir. I appreciate you jumping on the show right now, taking time out and let your voice be heard. And thank you. We do
Thank you.
appreciate you taking the time out coming here on Texas in Color today.
Hey, thank you. Hey, this is for all those who come after me, or this is a great platform. Uh, Use it. Connect with your voters. Connect with your communities. Do what you can where you are. Use what you got, and you'll find you get a result.
All right, sir. You take care. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Okay.
Recording stop.
All right, everybody. That was. Let me get it straight. All right. That was a good conversation. We hit some things up in there on with Mr. Miller Crow, as he said his nickname or the name they know him by. But stay tuned. We got more coming your way in another 20 minutes. We got another gentleman who's running for city council in Killeen. So we got it all coming your way right here on Texas in Color. We'll talk to everybody later. Thank you.